Hi everyone, today we are talking about color theory. I'm going to break it down so that it's super easy for everybody to understand, and it's going to be even easier for you all to use it in your own art. All right, here we go. Most of us have heard of the color wheel. It is basically the artist's map of colors. Well, we're going to make it kind of cute today, and we're going to make it a color flower. Okay, so there are the three primary colors that is going to be red, yellow, and blue, and they are the starting point, and you can't mix these colors from any other colors to create them. But if you mix them together, you can make pretty much any color, but if you just mix them as they are, don't do too much, you will get the secondary colors, which are green, orange, and purple. And then if you mix the primaries with the secondaries, you will get the tertiary colors. So that's red orange, yellow green, blue violet, and red violet. Now, the violet that I made is a phthalo blue mixed with a crimson, and on camera it looks very, very dark, like it practically looks black. So I did add a little bit of white to that just so that it could show up on the page, because in this it makes it look like it's 3 black petals, which is not what we're going for. So yeah. Now we're going to talk about color harmony. So there's complementary colors. Those are opposite of each other on the color wheel, like orange and blue. They create a super high contrast and they pop, and they can be really exciting in a happy way, or even like really jarring in kind of a scary way when you pair them correctly. Next we have analogous colors, and those sit right next to each other, like green, blue, and blue, green, and those are really calming and they're really pleasing to the eye. Then we have triadic colors, so they form a triangle on the wheel, so like red, yellow, and blue, and then if you just shift over one of each going in the same direction, like you will continue to make your triangle, and those are very bold and they're very balanced. And when you learn how to pair colors together in your own pieces, you will really be able to learn how color can change an entire piece. Like even just adding one dot of a color into a piece can really change the entire structure of it if you're using color harmony properly. And I think that is really, really cool. Next, we have warm and cool colors. So the warms are the reds, oranges, and yellows, and they feel super energetic and cozy. And what's interesting about color is that it's natural. So if you think of like a sunset on the beach in summer, and the bright reds and yellows and orange, and how there's orange reflections on everything, or fall with red and orange and yellow leaves all over the place, like they do that on their own, and those feelings that they make us feel, like the colors evoke that, and they create their own scenery and their own palette, and like that is so interesting. And then there's the cool colors, like the blues, the greens, and the purples, and they feel super calm and refreshing. So if you think about like a snowy landscape and how cool and how blue everything is in the winter, or like green grassy field with blue skies and purple flowers, like how soothing is that? And I added these little dots of yellow because this violet again was showing up very, very black on the screen, just so that it looks like something. And with that being said, again, mixing warm and cool colors strategically, they can just guide the entire mood of your painting. And how fun is that? Like you can create emotion and you can evoke emotion through your color choice. And it's so interesting. Like I could dive 1,000 feet into this topic. It's so cool. And lastly, we have value and saturation. So value is how light or dark a color is next to the grayscale. So if you've seen the grayscale, it is the scale that is white is at the top, or white is at the beginning, and then black is at the very end, and then it's all the colors of gray in between. Super high value colors are the ones that are closer to white, and low value colors are the ones that are closer to black. Mixing a color with white to make it higher in value, actually it's called making a tint, and then mixing a color with black to make it lower in value makes a shade. So you can see what I do with this red right here. I create a tint using the white, and then I also make a tint using a black, but I actually don't own a black and I don't use black in my own palette. So this is actually that phthalo blue mixed with the red, and that is usually always my darkest color on my palette, and I use it to make a shade. Doing this also changes the color saturation. So saturation is how intense or muted a color looks. How intense a color looks is typically the color by itself, or it is the color next to its complementary color, because again, when you put the complementaries next to each other, it makes them pop out really, really high because you're creating such a high contrast. So that will increase your intensity. Muted is when the color is mixed with something else, so it changes how pure the color is. So tweaking these can make your artwork feel super vibrant or soft or dramatic or subtle. And again, like, how cool is that? So all of this being said, whether you are a new artist starting off or you are a seasoned artist, this is the basics of one of your elements of art, which is color. And if you are an artist who paints in color or who uses color in print work or digital art or whatever you're doing, it's very important that you know these principles, because it helps you to understand and it helps you to create better pieces. And yeah, and you see color theory in everything, in marketing strategies and advertising and all of that. All of it is the basic elements of color theory and how to get people's attention and how to evoke and create emotion in people. And yeah, you can do that yourself with your own pieces, and you can create and evoke emotion just by learning the basics of this element of art. And how fun is that? And it's also just cool. It's cool to think about how strong of an effect that color has in everything. And like, wow, good job, everybody. All right, everybody, that's all I have for you. I hope you guys learned something, and if you did, I hope you're able to use it in your own art. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. We post new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and all the links to our social media will be linked down in the description below. All right, bye. All right, everybody, that's all I got. If you like this, all right, everyone, that's it. Super easy, super explained. Bye.